Right, good morning, everybody. Let's see how this works. I'm not sure how it's going to work. As you can see, I'm in Lincoln, and you can see by looking behind me that it's all rather different. I'm in a little chapel within the church in Lincoln, which is it's very pretty. It's very tiny. It's only got, let's just show you around. It's got the one door over there. And it's got some things hanging off, and on this side over here it's got no doors at all, so it is really very tiny indeed. We use it for things like Vespers on Saturday evening when very few people come, or for confessions, and for that it's very useful, though for social isolation you can fit I think 2 people in here. If you're going to have 2 meters apart, and maybe 3 or 4 if they're 1 meter apart. So we'll just see what happens here, and see how the buffering goes as well. It looks to me, looking at my image here, that it's a little bit delayed, but that doesn't matter terribly. And I suspect the next stage of reopening the churches will be having services taking place in church with 2 or 3 other people in there, all of them keeping well away from each other. And what we'll do then is that we'll live stream from here. I might do a little video later on, just showing people around the church, so that you're not going to be wondering what's through that door or anything like that. You'll know already. Right, let's see who's here. Anthony, I've already said hello to Anthony, and Amelia, good morning. Ian, I will be enjoying Lincoln, but I have to say, after 12 weeks of being in the monastery and nowhere else, it does seem very, very, very noisy. Lots of sirens and lots of noise going on, and even though there's much less traffic than before, there's a good deal of traffic noise. And in the monastery, you can't hear any sounds of any engines at all, unless they're our own. Good morning, Graham and Alan. Good morning. Maria Helena, good morning. Yes, thank God, I'm very well. And Declan and Vicky, good morning. And Jovan, good morning. Tatiana, from homeschooled Veronica. Wow, they're all going back to school today. I was surprised to see real, true, living children walking along the road today. Wow, that I haven't seen any children for a long time. Good morning, Sally and Mary. Yes, the icons behind, they're nice, aren't they? These 2 behind me here used to be used as icons in the icon corner, so they're being upcycled here. This one over here was St. John the Forerunner Baptist, was an icon given to us after a wedding we took. The wedding is quite interesting because it was in Germany, in Martin Luther's private chapel, and it had never been used for anything other than Lutheran worship before. It's had a surprisingly big holy table, but apart from that, it was actually a very beautiful space. Margaret, good morning. Judy and Tracy. Tracy has sent caterpillars and sunflowers. Yeah, noisy and Badsy, Malenga. I guess it's probably people taking their children to school. It's made something of a difference. Right, let's crack on then. We're going to be looking at Mark chapter 3, verses 7 to 12. And somebody said to me the other day, well, I don't have the text in front of me. And there's a very simple answer to that. And that is, go and buy yourself a Bible. Look, I have a Bible. It's the Orthodox Study Bible, which I'm looking at the wrong way around. I hadn't realized, of course, that's what's happening. And you open up the Bible and you find the place. Then you have exactly the same text as I have. You'll have a few notes at the bottom. Sometimes people don't like those notes. But that's the thing to do. Let us read to you what it is we're going to be looking at. Traffic back to normal where Alan is. Yeah, I'm not surprised really. I think people are beginning to decide that it's safer than it was. Good, Tracy, then you can look it up yourself. So it is Mark chapter 3, verse 7, and we'll see whether we can get all the way to verse 12. So this will be something of a record if we manage that. Let me read it to begin with. The story is, of course, that the Pharisees have just gone out of the synagogue. They have taken themselves away from the Lord, and they are plotting against him with the Herodians that they might destroy him. Then it says, "But Jesus withdrew with his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him, and from Judea and Jerusalem and Idumea and beyond the Jordan, and those from Tyre and Sidon." I can hear a siren. People are being naughty. A great multitude, when they heard how many things he was doing, came to him. So he told his disciples that a small boat should be kept ready for him because of the multitude, lest they should crush him. For he healed many, so that as many as had afflictions pressed about him to touch him. And the unclean spirits, whenever they saw him, fell down before him, cried out, saying, "You are the Son of God." But he sternly warned them that they should not make him known. Right, let's see how far we can get. And Malengas, I'm not guaranteeing that we're going to get further than one verse, or even part of one verse. So let's start off by looking at that very first verse. "But Jesus withdrew with his disciples to the sea, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him from all sorts of places." Now, isn't that interesting? The Pharisees have left him. They've gone out of the synagogue. They've decided they don't want to be with him. And what does the Lord do? He doesn't go rushing after them. He doesn't go to find them. He doesn't beg them to come back into the synagogue and listen to him more intently. He doesn't do that thing that you find quite a number of Protestants doing, rushing after their congregation, upset to the core of their beings that they choose not to come on Sunday. They go, bye-bye, off you go. Moreover, the Lord then withdraws from them. He actually leaves Capernaum. He goes away. If they choose not to be there, well, that's their business. And their business is actually looking to destroy him. But his business is to continue to pray and be himself, really, truly, absolutely the man that he really is. The man God, we know, but they just think the man. So those that hate the Lord, they're left to their own devices, and the Lord doesn't go running after them. He withdraws from them, and he withdraws down to the sea. And that's quite interesting in itself, because you'll remember we've said before about the sea. The sea is an unruly place. It is a place that in so many ways represents the whole of the world and the nations, the Gentile people. It is not like the land. It is a place that is not safe. It's where the demons and the pigs hurried to when the Lord cast them out of Legion. So you got that. And so he hurries off, he goes down to the sea. And what happens is really very interesting then. A crowd follows him there. It's not an ochlos, it is a pleroma, from which we get the word plethora, actually. It is not an unruly, angry crowd. It is a pleroma. It is a multitude of people. Often within the scriptures in English, they translate both sorts of crowd by just saying crowd, but they're not. They're different sorts of crowds. Some of them are oklos, an unruly crowd. Some of them are pleroma. They are a friendly crowd. They're coming to see the Lord. And do you see the difference between these two sets of people? With the Pharisees, they are the sort of folk, they know exactly what they're up to. They're uniform, they're organized, they're professional, they're capable, but they are angry, destructive. They want to destroy Christ. They don't know they need Christ. In fact, they think they don't need him. More than that, they want rid of him. It's an active not needing him. We don't need you in our society. Thank you very much. And they leave him because they don't recognize who he is. But if you carry on reading that particular passage like we did a moment ago, you then find something else about the crowd. They are from all parts of Judea. They're from Idumea, from Transjordan, so they're not Jewish. These are folk from all over the place, and they're from Tyre and Sidon as well. So those are new areas where the Lord has not been, where the gospel has not come from, but the word has gone out to all the world already. And what does all the world do? Well, symbolically, they come to the sea. They come to the place which is most difficult. And they come to the place, baptism, I suppose. They come to where the Lord is, even though he is no longer conveniently inside the city. He's out by the sea, which is wild. Okay? So you have, as a friend of mine used to say, she died a long time ago. Malengith will remember her. Her name was Lydia. Lydia was a wonderful, wonderful person. And Lydia would have said, there are all sorts there, Father, all sorts. It's one of her little catchphrases that she used to say, along with saying, oh, you are a stupid man, to me. I remain stupid. But all sorts came, all sorts. The good, the bad, the ugly, all types. People who are dangerous to know, those who are mad, all types of people come. And they're coming spontaneously. They're coming to him. They're not organized. They're not like the Pharisees. They're not a group of people. They're not like the Herodians, another group of people. They are all sorts. They're turning up in order to see the Lord. That's the way they're doing it. They're coming to him, all sorts, spontaneously, a disorganized crush of people. And the big difference between them and the Pharisees is that on the Pharisee side, and I'm deliberately pointing to my left, on the Pharisees side, they know they don't want him. But this disorganized crush of people, they want him. They're looking forward to seeing him. They need him. They know they need him. They know they need God. And they're hurrying to God from all these places to the point where they're going to crush the Lord. And that in itself is really quite fascinating. They come to him. The Lord has left the Pharisees. He's gone off into the sea, to the sea, and all the people, all this pleroma, they're all coming to him. Not only that, but even the evil spirits recognize him. So evil spirits recognize who he is, but the Pharisees don't. Later on, we have about sinning against the Holy Spirit, not seeing good where good is, really, that is, not recognizing where God really is active. And the evil spirits, they have no choice. They have to recognize him. They take one look and they can't help themselves but say, you are the Son of God. And the Lord tells them to shut up. That's not the sort of worship that he is after, and it's too early. It's not the sort of thing. But for the evil spirits, actually recognizing who Christ is and not being able to do anything about it in terms of repenting is the hell that they suffer. Those spirits, when they see him, cry out, shout out and scream. They're screaming because the fire of Christ is burning them. The fire of Christ is warming all these other people, this pleroma, all these other people who've turned up, but it burns the evil spirits. And in time, it will burn also the Pharisees too, the ones that turn up there. Okay, so I think that's probably enough. But one other little thing to say is, do you notice the excitement that is going on? The Lord has left Capernaum. He's gone off down to the sea. And it's not, well, that's that then, is it? Mark is excited. He's saying, and then what happened was folk came from everywhere. from all around Judea, Idumea, Transjordan, Tyre, Sidon, you name it, they came. They all turned up. And I think that excitement is something that we need to grab hold of in our own Christian lives and remember that it's not a dull thing, it's powerfully exciting. The Lord is there. He's there within your reach. You can come and receive him. I'm always surprised, actually, just as a little aside, the way that if you've got a miracle working icon somewhere, you can guarantee the church will be absolutely packed full. But week after week after week after week, normally, the Lord is there. He's inside. No, there he is. He's there on the holy table. And as we said the other day, people decide that now the bridegroom is with them, it's time to fast, and they're not going to feast upon him. There we go. Right, God willing, I don't know if you can give me some feedback some point, even now while I'm looking at this. Tell me whether it's stuttering or whether it's quite clear. That would be helpful. Now let's have a look at this. Melengeth by Lydia Daphne. Her everyday name was, we called her Lydia. And she was a really special, lovely person. And she came from Melengeth's congregation when Melengeth was an Anglican. And she took one look at the Orthodox Church and said to herself, that's what we need. That's what I need. And she came. There was another woman who came with her, actually, and she took one look and said, that's definitely not what I need. And she ran away, full of criticism, and didn't like it at all. Maria, yes, I'm here in Lincoln, and I will probably do a little video around the church. It's quite interesting. It's odd to see it in the state that it's in because most of the chairs have gone, which I suppose many people think would be a good thing, but the chairs that are there, all of them 2 meters away from each other. So that's a peculiar thing. Right, it looks as if people are saying that it's worked well. That's great. So tomorrow, same time, same place. Who knows? I might choose a different part of the church to do it in this time and see if that makes any difference. Okay, pray for each other. Pray for me. One sad thing happened in the monastery yesterday after I left. We've been looking after somebody's dog for quite a long time. I'm very fond of her. Her name is Jess, and it became obvious the day before yesterday something was not up, and she wasn't eating, and we were trying to give her some food that she would eat, but she was turning it all down. And anyway, yesterday in the afternoon, poor old Jess died, and I think we should all miss her very much. She was a lovely dog, very gentle, very, very gentle, very shy, but loved being in the monastery. But there we go. Yeah, we're all very sad, actually. Yes, we're sad, Henry, too. We'll miss her. She's a lovely little dog. Anyway, there we go. She glorified God with her presence, and she enlivened and enriched our lives too. And I hope that we enlivened and enriched hers. I know that Chad loved her very much, whose dog it was, and he is clearly, obviously, very upset about her dying as well. But there we go. Right, according to Margaret, I'm bluer than normal. Well, according to some, the Shekinah is also blue, so that's maybe not a good thing. Not a bad thing, I mean. Right, good night then, Tracy. You can take yourself off, and Margaret also is, I think it's your bedtime as well, and various others, so God bless you. Okay, and Father Smurf, maybe I would have a different part of the church in that case. No, it's blue in here. Anyway, there we go. Okay, God bless you. Bye-bye then.